Welcome, everybody. This is episode 4 of the Lucid Cupid. Today, instead of going over your dreams, instead of talking about what your dreams mean, how we have been here on the show every month, I want to actually give you, a little how-to guide, how to go lucid. What does this all mean? What is lucidity? Lucidity, brief definition, is taking control of your dream time. Taking control of your dream time, realizing while you're dreaming that you're dreaming. When we know that we're dreaming while we dreaming. What up, brother? Hello, everybody. And this is live today. I usually pre-record these. I wanted this to be live. I wanted to get you guys involved. I wanted to ask some questions. So stay tuned for the Q&A at the end. So where was I? What is lucidity? Miss Bev, welcome. Lucidity is basically being dreaming and knowing that you're dreaming. Being in the dream state and knowing that you're dreaming. I like to look up the definitions before I do this as well. And one of the key words that I found that I loved was luminosity. Luminosity is lucidity. So having this light, accessing this light. Hey. What up, girlfriend? So I wanted to give you guys the tips and tricks that I've been doing for years. Because Alexander's journey started with dream time. Alexander's awakening process started with dream time. And it was, because of my Roman Catholic faith that it took me longer to find that I was different, that this was different, that this was a skill set, that this was a gift. Because there was a lot of references in the Bible about, predicting things with dreams and, things like dreams being... having the ability to tell us about the future, like the whole story with all the cows and how the guy prepared for this year of famine, all that stuff. Like this stuff was left, right in the scripture. And I know some of that stuff's frowned upon now, but now my crew, now my family watching live right now. And that's a story for another day. We'll touch that story on another day. I'm not trying to ruffle tail feathers. This is more of a how-to guide. Alexander though. He's got to shake him awake. We shake him awake here at Galactic Tarot. So anyways, that's the brief description of lucidity. To me, lucidity is knowing when I'm dreaming. This has expanded throughout life to become lucid in my day-to-day life. This has become expanded to look at the lucidity through the signs, because Spirit's screaming at us every day. Some of us are not hearing it, are not seeing the signs, but allowing Spirit, letting Spirit know that we're looking at the signs, we're referencing the signs, we're researching the signs of sometimes what things represent in dream time in our physical life. We can also achieve lucidity through our day-to-day lives is something that I would just also like to add in, which I can answer questions on later as well. But really, this is the how-to. Happy Lunar New Year. Happy New Moon, everybody. Also, thank you. Thank you for being with me. How to go lucid. First and foremost, you got to have the checklist of, is the room dream state ready? Are you accessing this stuff? Are you wanting to do this stuff first and foremost? So first and foremost, we got to check the box of, is the room dark enough? Have you been remembering your dreams? What is the belief structure also upon lucidity? Some people had certain weird situations happen one time or 9 times, and then they think that's the only way. It's not the only way. You can have complete and utter control of your dream time, mind you. So first and foremost, is the room dark enough? And are you manifesting being able to remember your dreams? Because this is all important factors too. What's the difference if you went lucid while you were dreaming? If you wake up and you don't remember it. So, telling yourself the belief structure. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to remember my dream. Just having that belief structure. I'm meditating. The meditation practice is also important. It's not an end-all be-all. It doesn't have to be there. It will make it easier. Because when you're doing these certain things that release these good endorphins and serotonin and dopamine and dimethyltryptamine in the brain, you're going to have more natural access to the things that are helping you to dream. So belief structure and practice, first and foremost, I want to talk about. So, the room's dark enough, everything's good to go, you're remembering your dreams. Okay, what's next? Reality checks. First and foremost, the most important thing is your reality checks. Checking during your physical day-to-day life. Am I dreaming right now? Are you dreaming right now? You watching right now at home, are you dreaming right now? So we have to ask ourselves this, and there's a way that we can check it, because I can't tell you guys, probably that I can remember 30 to 50 times I'm in dream time, and I ask myself if I'm dreaming, and then other aspects of self or my own brain goes, no, this is real. This isn't a dream. And I wake up and I'm like, oh, damn it. I almost did it. Almost went lucid. I was like, this is weird. So that's what I'd like to start from, is this is weird. When something crazy or something awesome or something like a miracle happens in your day-to-day life, or just something really weird, like in general, and just things that your brain notices are out of place. That's when we really have to ask. That'd be like, oh, this is the perfect time for the reality check. The perfect times for the reality check is when something happens, like, something happens with an animal, something happens in our day-to-day. There's a strange looking car, or, somebody's dressed up in a crazy costume on the side of the road. Things that don't normally fit into the everyday average day. Those are the times where it's best to do your reality checks. Because when we can train the brain to do the reality check on the spot, and mind you, there's many different ways of reality checking, and I'm going to tell you what works for me the best, because as things worked for me, they would stop working. And I hate to even say that out loud. It's like, knock on wood. Like, I don't want that to happen. Like, I'm just being brutally honest with you. Things that worked for me, like, you go read online, they say, push your finger through your hand. Your hand will not be able to stop your finger in dream time. And I'm like, okay, no, like there's even like a pressure point here. Mind you, don't pinch this. Do not do this. But if you're going to, go very gentle. There's a pressure point right here in your hand. And there was a point where I was pinching this because it hurts. And, my brain was thinking way back like 5-7 years ago, however long ago, when I was still practicing this lucidity then, I won't feel pain in dream time. Sure enough, there were times where I went to go check and go lucid in dream time. I was like, this is odd. This is odd. Let me see if I'm dreaming. I'd pinch this and I'd actually feel the pain in dream time, which you're not supposed to do. So it's like, as we expand upon this, as we expand our gifts, there's some sort of protocol in place from God or the original creator of our soul or spirit, or whether it's good things or bad things or whatever. There's some sort of protocol in place that is attempting to prevent us from going lucid. I know that for a fact. Or we ourselves are trying to prevent ourselves from going lucid, because, there's always this time where like Alexander's trying to like when I see somebody, like when I see my sister or a family member or a best friend or whoever in my dream, and I go lucid. Once I definitely am lucid, my first thing is like jailbreak everybody. For some reason, I think everybody in the dream is also there. Like, cause like, it's hard to kind of like really like have a full grasp in dream time. And I'll go grab people. I'll be like, we're dreaming right now. We got to get out of here. Even though they're probably just like figments of my imagination in that present moment. But still, I go grab them. I'm like, we're dreaming. And they're always like, no, we're not. No, we're not. This is not a dream. This is real. Like they always try to tell me that we're not dreaming. But I'm always like, we can fly. Come fly with me. Fly with me. Okay, sorry, he's back. Anyways. So after I get past that, and then like I'll start to like whatever, you can talk a good talk, and you could say, next time I go lucid, I want to talk to this ascended master. Next time I go lucid, I want to do this or that. The second you go lucid, most people, I would say 99.9%, all that stuff goes out the window. You're going to want to fly. The second you can fly, you're probably just going to take off. I'm going to be real with you. That's the majority. There have been other things that I've accessed through dream time. Like, it took me about 1.5 years because I would go into lucidity and I would go fly. It took me about a year and a half. I wanted to see what would happen if I meditated during lucidity. So I remember this one time. It's like literally I only did this once because it was really interesting. It was cool, but it was also like a letdown, and it was over so quick. But I sat down in a chair in the dream, and I was like, all right. And the second I went to close my eyes to meditate, my eyes, first of all, didn't close. So that could be your reality check if that works for you. Close your eyes, but who knows? Maybe our brains can put this together and actually make it go dark. Who knows? But all I know is when I sat down to actually meditate, my eyes didn't close, and the entire reality just like spun this way, spun clockwise. Like everything went, and then it was like boom through the tunnel, and I'm in the next dream segment. I'm instantaneously in the next dream segment, and the second I get to the next dream segment, I don't remember that I'm dreaming again. Now it's like back to the drawing board. Figure out that you're dreaming again, bro, which I didn't. So I woke up and I was like, well, this is good. I did the thing that I wanted to do, but it didn't turn out how I wanted to. I was like wondering, what is meditation like in dream time? So, hopefully that goes better for you if you manifest that yourself. But reality checks. Here's the reality check that Alexander does that's been working for him for years. Okay, a fire truck goes by, and it's one of their son's birthdays, and one of the firefighters is dressed up as a clown or something. They got a Ronald McDonald or some sort of weird costume, or they're dressed like a dinosaur. I see that in my day-to-day life, and I go, that's different. That seems like it doesn't fit. So I ask myself, am I dreaming right now? And after I ask myself if I'm dreaming right now, I then proceed to say, okay, let me think back 3 stages, because you cannot think back 3 stages in dream time. So I say to myself, okay, how did I get here? I came from my house. What did I do at my house? All right, I cooked breakfast before I left. What did I have for breakfast? I start asking myself questions, because you will not be able to answer these questions in dream time. If you can go back, if you can remember the segment before the segment that you're in, that is it, I promise you. Trying to go back 3 segments, 4 segments, and getting back to the beginning of the day, to the session that you had, or going to the bank, or like if you can go back segments, what I'm getting at, if you can actually go back entire segments, that's your day, that's your physical life. But it's good if you're having your brain do these reality checks right away. Because the goal is, like, sometimes it's the silliest thing why I go lucid. Sometimes it's literally like, the walls are painted purple and the walls are painted pink. And I'm like, well, these walls aren't pink. Am I dreaming right now? And then sometimes it's like the weirdest thing, and I don't even know. There's 40-foot tall beings, and I don't even ask if I'm dreaming. That I can't explain to you. That I cannot explain. All I can tell you is that this is a practice, and this, like, basically can, if you want it to, become part of your life. And it's those days where it works. It's those days where we get to the place that we're trying to get to, we have just, even just simply this, just keeping it in the state of mind of flying dreams. You have one of these dreams, you're literally an immovable object and an unstoppable force for days. Like, you don't just wake up that next day and like you're just feeling so overjoyed and so happy. It lasts for days. That high vibration lasts for days. So, this is just what I want to share with you guys. And this is what I want you guys to, if you're not having these flying dreams, if you're not expressing this lucidity for yourself right now, that's why I'm giving you these tips and tricks. I'm giving you the reality checks. There's many different ones that you can do. You can research your own. But I gave you the one that has been surefire for me and has been working for years now, is, like I said, going back as many segments as I can, but a minimum of 3. And I'll do this in the car. I'll do this like right away, like when it's safe, obviously. I'm not asking if you're skiing down a mountain. Don't do a reality check maybe right then. But if you can, working on your multidimensionality, of course, then by all means do so. If it feels safe to you, if you get the thumbs up from spirit in your gut, however you talk to spirit. So another thing you can do to accentuate upon this, and all dream state, mind you, is the double sleep method. Okay, so When we hit the REM cycle, our body releases melatonin. Our body produces melatonin and releases it. And this is why, like the chemical effect of why we dream in the first place. It's one of the things that makes it happen. So if you say went to bed at 9 p.m., 11 p.m., whenever the heck you go to bed, and you hit that cycle, you hit that hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hour cycle, set an alarm. I know this sounds terrible. He wants me to sleep for 2 to 3 hours and wake up exhausted. You wake up and you stay up. You don't stay up forever. You just stay up long enough that your body gets out of the sleep cycle, and then you go back to sleep. So you can wake up, have all that melatonin loaded up in your body, go back and lay down and go back to sleep. And most people will be able to fall back to sleep. And I know some people have different sleep things or, different belief structures. Once again, check the belief structures at the door. And now you've produced double melatonin. And if you, the viewer, think back right now, some of the craziest dreams you've ever had, you'll put 2 and 2 together and be like, oh, wait a minute. I woke up to use the bathroom that night. I drank a little bit too much water. Another thing you can do, you can actually not have an alarm set and just drink enough water that you will wake up at some point, but that can go either way. It's sometimes better to just use the alarm, but that has worked for me as well. But you'll think back and you'll say, wait a minute, he's right. That time I had that really crazy dream, or that time I did go lucid, or that time I did fly, I woke up to use the restroom. And then I had a little bit of difficulty going back to sleep. It took me about 40 minutes to go back to sleep, and I went back to sleep. Then dream state was crazy. Like dream state was really crazy that night that I woke up during the night, because you've produced double melatonin. Can you take melatonin? Yes. Do I suggest it? No, I don't. Because I don't want anybody using anything that becomes a crutch. It's kind of like, zinc. Like I'm big on zinc. I take zinc very few and far between. Because if I started, anybody, I won't even say me, if somebody takes zinc for 3 years straight, their body's going to go, oh, this is cool. This zinc is just, being put into the body every day. I don't need to produce it anymore. So I don't want that to be the effect on the melatonin. Like, I don't want you to put the melatonin in and then the body's like, oh, I don't have to produce this to the same degree because it's being loaded up every night. You don't want these supplements to become a crutch, is what I'm getting at. So, because zinc will work as well. There was a supplement I was taking for my workouts for deeper rest, and I was taking the ZMA, and I'm not saying take ZMA. It's just zinc, magnesium, and I don't know why it has an A. I think it's B6. But I was taking this like years ago, like 10 years ago, and that made my dream state crazy. But then all of a sudden it didn't, and it felt like I was actually having more difficulty remembering my dreams. It felt like it actually hindered things at some point. Whereas like when I first started taking it, it was really awesome. And I wasn't even expecting it for that. I was literally just like, to have the body be able to repair itself from the crazy workouts I was doing, have the body repair itself faster and better by having more, restful sleep was the why they made this supplement, or what the main gist was behind it. But what I'm getting at is, yeah, there are supplements you can take. I'd rather you didn't. Doing something like drinking the proper tea or something like that before bed, all for it. Alexander's Shiva form gives that 6 thumbs up. Okay. At least he makes himself laugh. But anyways, just to like kind of wrap everything about the reality checks need to be second nature. Like when you, and I don't want you to get home and be like, oh man, that weird thing happened. I forgot to do a reality check and think like something bad happened. No, you just say, okay, next time I'm going to remember faster. Once again, the belief structure comes into play here. Once again, we have to have the belief structure of, okay, next time something like that happens, I will remember to do the reality check faster. Because when we can make this reality check part of our everyday life, when we're in dream time, and we think it's everyday life, we'll do these reality checks, whatever they may be for you, and they'll work, or they won't. But when they work, that's when we really get to experience in full color and full high def some of the stuff I've seen in my dream time. The colors that an artist couldn't create, like here in this physical place where I'm talking to you. Like just the most beautiful paints, and the things that would come through to me would be validated. They'd be validated. I remember one time, just a quick story. You know, Alexander's always got to go out on a tangent, and this doesn't really have to do with lucid dreaming, but I'm going to say it anyways. I had this dream, and there was this big painting. It was a beautiful painting, and there was like this shadowy figure, and it was their back, and they were like this. And there's an angel with the sword, and he's like, he's coming down to like strike down this person. The wings are made of fire, and the helmet's made of fire, and the wings made out of fire, the sword's made out of fire, the shield's made out of fire. And he's like, ye shall not pass, all by himself. And there was mountains made out of fire in the background. And it literally said on it, which this is a name that's more commonly understood now, but back in 2009, nobody was talking about this. This is like when I was going through the awakening. I didn't realize. I thought I was just losing. I was like I got a Virgin Mary on my shirt. I thought I was having like visions of angels and gods or whatever. I didn't know what was going on. So I wake up and go to the really strict Roman Catholic father, and I because it said the wrath of Raguel, and I woke up and I was just like, this is an archangel. Like, this is for sure an archangel. So I woke up and I go to my dad, and I'm like, I get the sleep in my eyes. And I'm like, Dad, who's Archangel Raguel? And he's like, there's no Raguel. I'm like, Raguel? And he's like, no, there's no such thing. He's like, you're mixing up with Raphael. There's Raphael. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm going to personal train my clients, driving with my knee, using Google, how a good American does. Don't do that at home, or in your car, rather. And I'm like typing in Raguel as I'm driving down the street. Mind you, don't do that. This is young Alexander I'm talking about here. And I'm typing in the phone, and I swear to you, it's a true story. I type in Archangel R.A. It doesn't suggest Raphael. It suggests Raguel. And I hit the button, and I'm like literally like covered in goosebumps. I have to pull over the car. I pull over the car. I'm like, I'm looking at what was just in my dream. I've never heard this name before. And mind you, I keep to myself. I don't like read all these books and do all this stuff. And like, this was literally coming to me, especially at the beginning of my awakening. I didn't use YouTube. I didn't use any of this stuff. I kept to myself. It was just me and my spirit guide and my angels. That was it. And Connie and my other little white witch friend. Rest in peace. Anyways, so I hit the button, I read it, and it literally says, Archangel Raguel. He's like the sole protector of God. He lives in the mountains made of fire that surround God's kingdom. He's got a sword made out of fire, wings made out of fire. And I'm just like, I'm going to be late for work, because I had to turn around the vehicle and drive back and show it to my dad, because I was losing it, I'm waking up by myself. It's just like, my slicked back hair guinea friends, like, love you guys, by the way. Let's go funnel a bottle of whiskey and pick up girls at the club. And I'm like, this is so boring. Do we have to? Like, what do I do? Like, where can I just get like these little old white witch friends, like a little bit younger, and they can party with me, like the same? Said I go to their stores and buy crystals. Like, what is happening to me? But anyway, so I go and I want to show my dad this, because I'm completely flustered. And I'm like, look at this. And it's like Archangel Raguel, blah, 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 blah. And he reads it, and he's just like, why is this happening? Like, he's like, what is happening? He's like, why are you getting these visions? So, what up, Rebecca? So anyways, true story. And then even oddly enough, like I said, the whole RA thing. So the dream state has been very important to me. And we're in 2021, and this started happening to me. I started predicting the future with that book, like I showed you in one of the first episodes, 10,000 Dreams Interpreted, in 2001. So it's been 20 years. It's been more than half of my life mastering dream time. Whatever this title of Lucid Cupid or whatever, that I kind of did that for fun, because that was going to be the original name of my business. I can actually pull up an old email and show you guys a Lucid Cupid business card. And there's just like this long list, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing yet, But either way, this is the Lucid Cupid. And, that's what I wanted to talk about today. So other than doubling the melatonin and, accessing this through your daily life as well, aside from the reality checks, looking at what is spirit trying to tell me? What does this bird represent? What does this represent? Just like, even though or you're pretty sure that you're awake at that moment, looking at what's happening. Like even today, like, yeah, it could just be like this time of the year, it's time of spring. I'm on a session with a client. I got berries falling, juniper berries are falling all over me. It's literally raining. I'm just like getting hit by berries, and there's just birds almost flying into me. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, I can just say what the heck is going on and let it roll by, or I can like actually like, research, why is this happening? I can actually look at what would this mean in a dream? And that's another thing that like, this lucidity can roll over into your daily life. And what's great about that is when spirit knows you're paying attention and they're like, oh, well, this is easy. This type of bird or this squirrel or this rabbit or this deer or this elk or this thing. And it doesn't have to just be animals. This represents this to so-and-so. So now we know when this is happening or about to happen, we can send them that. So you can have your team be able to communicate with you, which is a beautiful thing. So like aside from just lucidity in dream time, lucidity in daily life is also something that I suggest to everybody and is something that's happened plenty of times. I'm looking over at the mountain here in Sedona, and there's like straight up a perfect, I could even send you the picture, it's in my phone. There's a perfect whale, and there's actually like the water coming out of the top of the whale, and it's perfectly flat, like it's on the horizon. And I say to the sister, I'm like, we got to look up what a whale means. If you see a whale in dream, and it is exactly what she needs to hear. And then she's crying. She's like, that's crazy. How did you know that? And I'm like, I just looked at a cloud. I didn't even do anything. I'm not even communicating with spirit. I look up, I see a whale, and I go, what does a whale represent? It's pretty simple. You just got to do the work. So, other than that, hit me with the questions. I'll stay here another few minutes, answer some questions, your questions about lucidity or, dream stuff in general. I'm here. Ask away, fam. I do that with the clouds. Yeah, cool. Yeah. No, I remember that. Ivan, is he here? Ivan, get in here. No excuses. No, I'm just kidding. Is it good to draw out your dreams? More is better than less. Yeah, when it comes to dreams, you have to write it down. There was a point where, I'm in a rush. Like, we make excuses. Now, I'd be in a rush, so I'd record my dreams into my phone or a voice recorder, and I'd record my dreams, and then literally, just even like sometimes 3 hours later, it sounds like the ravings of a madman. I remember waking up. I remember like specifically remembering my dream, but it's just completely gone, even with the voice record. Like, but it's like, it's kind of like when you were in school, or, you're still in school, whatever. You'd write down the index cards, and you'd be like, boom, boom, boom. And you'd write down the index cards, and then like, you'd go to study them, and you'd be like, well, why did I even write down these index cards? Like, I already have this memorized, but you have it memorized because you wrote it down. So a lot of it's that, and that can become a full-time job. My comments disappeared. How do I do this? Okay. Somebody else has to comment so I can get the comments back. I was trying to read it. Sorry, there they are. Thank you, Mary. Mary to the rescue. So yeah, that's to answer your question, Rebecca. Lightning steam. Any sounds that help? I use white noise. I have a special sound machine. I got my finger on the phone so the comments don't go away. I got a special sound machine that does a fan. I got it on Amazon Prime. It does the sound of a fan and the white noise at once. And to be honest with you, it's probably a slight waste of electricity. I never even shut the thing off. I just leave it running all day. But it's going and at the same time. So I've used that for a long time because you got to keep in mind, whether it's your partner or a truck going by or a trash truck, or especially those of you living, next to an airport or like a train station or something, you can use sound to drown out other sound. You won't wake up, and that's the purpose behind white noise. And some people that think that they can't sleep, this could help you sleep as well. So yeah, there are plenty of sounds that can help, but my suggestion is white noise. Because if you use like the sound of waves, which is a good thing for some, you're going to have more ocean dreams. If you're using the sound of a rainforest, you're going to have more rainforest dreams. So something that's more open-ended, like just a white noise, is what I would suggest, unless if you're trying to recreate that 5D beach experience. Winnie, can you tell me what it means to always be driving through water in dream time? I'm forever in a car and next to a big body of water, always ready to bail out of the car. Tell me what it means to be always driving through. You're saying through water, but now it sounds like you're by the water. The car is your body. So whenever we see the vehicle, this is our vehicle. This is our body. So when you're having the body, it's showing you the water. It could be showing you the emotions. It could be referring to something that's going on with emotion or love as well. Love is also connected to the ocean. So like looking at like what is represented, Winnie, I would say it has something to do with a certain situation with emotions that you're ready to bail on, and the water is representing the emotions because the car is always representing the body. Like very, very obvious. Like, I've even had, like, once again, in physicality, I remember a friend, I'll just find the comments later. I don't feel like holding this anymore. I remember one time I had a friend and, she's driving. If you're watching right now, I love you. You know who you are. She's driving, she gets a flat. A week later, her tires get slashed. And I was like, I started to get worried because this is like the beginning of my awakening. And this was like, to be honest, this was a personal training client that became a friend. So I'm saying the tires are representing your legs or your arms. I was like, is it front tires? Is it back tires? Because I was already doing this lucidity stuff back then. And I was like, spirit's yelling something at you. There's something about a step you're taking or something you shouldn't be doing or something that you are doing that you don't want to, but you are for some reason. And, she brushes it off. And I was like, it's going to get more and more. I was like, it was one tire. Now it's all four of your tires. She falls down the stairs and breaks her leg. And it wasn't until she's like kind of stuck on the couch with a cast on her leg. And now she's not even personal training anymore. She's not even working out anymore. And now that all that angst is building up, that I'm like, spirit was going to keep screaming this at you till you listened. It's time to listen. Because it was like, once again, there goes the lucidity in the daily life. So like also looking at the patterns with the lucidity as well, looking at the patterns of when do you see this type of animal or when does this type of thing happen. I need a comment to come up so I can read the comments. What does this button do? Top chat, live chat. What is this? There we go. He figured it out. Technology, isn't it great? Anyways, there's Winnie. Mary Freed. When I go lucid, I seem to wake myself up. I feel like it's the conscious thought pulling me into the waking world. Any advice for staying in the dream and still being able to take some control? Don't take some control, take all control. Ariel, check out Pink Noise. Will do, sister. Take all control, Mary. My suggestion is to not go through walls for starters. I know a lot of times, like when I do take control and I start to fly, I start to have that flying dream. But like, say I'm in a school or I'm in a gymnasium or something, and I'm like, well, this is cool. I can fly around the room, but I want to get out of here. Same thing as before when I told you when I go into when I went into meditative state that time in dream time, and it just boom instantly changed segments. If I go through a wall and like the outside, you think of, once again, a lot of times things that make sense to your brain, even though you're lucid, it's not how it works on the other side. We got to figure this stuff out as we go along as a team or whatever on your own. And I went through the ceiling to be like, I want to go fly. I want to, let's go check out this or that. And I go, boom, I go through, and like literally it was like I was made out of rainbows and everything's black. And like it lasted like a second and a half, and boom, it changes segments. I don't remember that I'm dreaming anymore. I sure as heck don't. I'm not maintaining that lucidity anymore. I got to like then become lucid again. But with this practice, who knows? Maybe we can go lucid every single time we sleep. Who knows? What's the limit? So cool. You're talking about dreams. My daughter said you were in her dream 2 nights ago. I saw the question mark, so I read that, but that's not a question, but love you. Love your daughter. You're both great. Just in time for the subject. Can you create lucid dream before falling asleep? That's what I'm talking about, Veronica. Good stuff. Can you recreate it? Yes. I love this question. Thank you. You actually reminded me of something I have written on my paper that I didn't even bring up. So the same way that if we think of a traumatic event from the past, our body will produce cortisol. What Veronica just asked me is perfect. We can actually go back to that dream. Even if you were 5 years old, 7 years old, most of us have this dream where we flew at some point in our lives. And go back to that dream in meditative state or just envision it, picture it, Because who knows if you're activating those areas of the brain to recreate these things. And this is something that you can do in your day-to-day life as well, mind you. This is something that you can do in your physical life for just like, the things that are miracles and things that are awesome. But to just keep it on subject, thinking about your favorite dreams ever and saying, oh, original creator of my soul, universe, source, whatever your vernacular is. I love that dream. Can I have like a dream like that or better? Please. Thank you. That would be awesome. Manifesting that, it's the new moon right now. So if there's something you want to shift, if there's something you want to do, now's the time. Write it down on paper, stash that paper somewhere, find it at a later day and be like, oh my God, everything on this list has manifested. We have the power to instantly manifest. We have it now. It's just a slight delay. It's our belief structure that prevents those things from taking longer to happen. So, how do you wake up in dream time so that you can start controlling them? How do you wake up? That's the reality check, sister. That's what I was already talking about. I do a reality check, or I just am firm that this is different. This doesn't make sense. Like, one of the first times I went lucid, I like back in the day, I remember like arguing with my sister in dream time, and I'm like, we're in Germany and it's 1943. Like we're not even alive then. Like, we're in the past. Like I was like, this is a dream. Like I remember, like I told you guys, I try to jailbreak the other people in my dream. I'm trying to persuade the other representations in my dream, which is something that I still haven't avoided, but obviously I'm working on. I just need to go lucid and just go lucid, and that's it. Because it doesn't matter if it's a family member, a parent, whoever, they're going to argue with you. They're going to tell you that you're not dreaming. They're not like, you're right. Let's get the heck out of here. Let's go talk to your higher self. They're never going to suggest something awesome. They're never going to be like, oh my God, yeah, we're dreaming. Let's call down Yeshua. Like, let's get it done, son. What are we supposed to be doing? Let's ask what our life purpose is. Or like, let's just fly. Let's just fly and be high on life tomorrow. Or that. So let me just check for a couple more questions. Live chat. Been having a few earlier life dreams. Years. Oh my, I just started purposely flying in dreams. It is exhilarating, but at the same time, something. My intuition is telling me to stop. And I'm trying to figure out why. Don't stop, Dana. Dana, the highest natural highs I've ever reached in my life are after those flying dreams. That it's not a high that lasts, like I said, hours or even that day. It's lasted over a week and a half for me. So that's probably your ego, Dana. There's certain aspects of the ego, or certain, some people call them higher selves. I call them other dimensional versions that don't want us to pass them like they're standing still, because sometimes they are standing still. So I would just work your way through that, and just if that's working for you, you keep doing that, sister. How do we know if the person we know in waking life in our dream is actually them? It's probably not. Chelsea, it's probably not. A lot of times, if you aren't familiar enough with that person, especially for somebody like myself, that I do a lot of sessions, and like the style of sessions that I do as well. Sometimes I'll have somebody with the same name represent somebody else. Sometimes it'll be, like the sexes are actually changed. Sometimes the sexes are changed, but the guy's got makeup on and the woman doesn't. Like there's things I got to figure out. What is this representing? What does this mean? But usually your gut just knows. Like, you wake up and you're like, I feel like that was so-and-so. And then sure enough, it was. But a lot of times also the age can change. The age of the person can change depending on their consciousness in this present moment. So you might have somebody that you're dealing with that is in their early 30s, but they're appearing to you as a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old because that's where their consciousness level is at this time. So that is also, like I said, just pay attention. First and foremost, if you have a dream, you write it down, you remember the dream. To have days go by and be like, this is really standing out to me. Spirit's really having this stand out to me. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm screaming at everybody in my reality, remember the dream, remember the this, remember the that, because I know something's coming. I know something's coming. And like everything in my soul is trying to avoid that thing or dissolve it or dismantle it beforehand. And then next thing you know, everyone's like, "Wah!" And I'm like, this is the dream. I told you guys, whatever. Not having the whatever and being upset about it, but just paying attention for next time and remembering. The one thing Spirit really wants to see you do is remember, how did they communicate you the first time? If they communicate that way to you again, are you going to remember? You know, like whether it was like the dream about the seagulls or this thing or a frog or, and things are usually very, very literal, Chelsea. They're usually very, very literal. Like for me, the dinosaur represents somebody from the past, a blast from the past. And the skeleton represents a skeleton in the closet. And, the dirty bathroom dreams represent the person needs to clear something. They got to release something. They're angry. The yellow liquid on the ground. They're peed off, so to speak. Not to be gross. I'm just saying that your brain is very freaking literal, or spirit is, with the sayings that we have and the things that we see in the dream. Let me just check this live chat one more time. An hour might not be long enough, Nima. I think I would research REM sleep, how long it takes. I think it's an hour and a half to 2 hours. Yeah, I would try. What do you eat before sleep? I don't eat anything. I start my fast. So I eat, look at me, I'm throwing the camera all over the place. I eat my last meal around 7, and then I break my fast at 1 p.m. So I don't eat anything before dream, but that is my biggest meal. And I'm kind of a night owl, as some of you know. So I got a good 6 hours from when I eat, 10, 1 o'clock. Yeah, about 6 hours. So I digest. I digress that I digest. Okay, what else? Do we got one more? What does it mean when you wake up with a statement or word? Like the other morning, I woke up with the big diamond. That's a good question. What does it mean when you wake up with a statement or a word? I mean, I would really look at what that represents to you, what that means to you. The big diamond. The big diamond. I mean, a diamond can represent marriage. It could be marriage of the masculine and the feminine. It could be the big diamond. It could be a piece of coal. It could be something that you look at like it's not that good, but it's better than you realize. Because it's like, you hear the whole like, oh, this kid was bad, where, Santa's going to put a piece of coal in their stocking. But, in some reality, that piece of coal is a diamond. It's the world's most beautiful diamond. So, I would look at what takes place, sister, what was taking place around then and what that was representing, because a big diamond can represent quite a few different things. We get the diamond light, we get diamond scale armor, we get diamonds representing marriage. It could be a lot of different things for you. It depends on what you've been working on. But, if say you were working on balancing the masculine and the feminine, that could have been your soul, your guardian angel, your mind's way of telling you this is complete. You've balanced this. Move on to the next thing. So I'm just going to check one more time just because I'm having so much fun here. Dashandra, what up, lady? Thank you for joining me today. What about people showing up pretending? What about people showing up pretending to be someone else, I'm guessing you're saying? What do you do with those energies? Like some pretending to be a family member. Like I said, more often than not, if that person is closed off, someone else already is representing them. You might have mom in a dream and mom's not even mom. Mom's representing mom, a different mother. You might have an airport in a dream and the airport is actually representing a space station. And if you actually got on the plane and flew from point A to point B, you just went from Earth to Andromeda or Lyra or the Pleiades or whatever. Like sometimes I'm having a dream and I wake up from it. It's just the most droll, normal, boring stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I know what actually happened. Because there's going to be times where the reference isn't there. So say one of your girlfriends or one of your friends is going to have an issue with some person. They're going to be represented with somebody who's already in your cerebral cortex, who's already in your brain. They're going to be represented with somebody else. So it's not like you shouldn't be upset if somebody else is representing somebody else. And there's going to be a lot of that. Like there's a lot of like, I can't even tell you how many times, certain spirits have tried to wear my face or like, the face of my family here in Sedona. Because like I told you before, if you're about to pass one of your other dimensional versions, like they're standing still, if you're about to pass these beings that some look at as higher selves. You're about to pass them like they're standing still. Sometimes they don't want that. And then sometimes where like we ask, certain aspects of self to shift, or we make the changes, we make the appropriate changes here that they have to change there. And I know I'm really going woo-woo right now, but so be it. When we make these changes, if they're going to have a dimensional change as well, they're going to lose all their friends. They're going to lose everything that's taken place there. So it's like things get better for them. But sometimes, and you'll realize this more often than not, and this supersedes the dimensional matrix, people don't like change. Okay? The majority of people don't like change. Okay? So sometimes our soul aspects don't like change either. So these aspects will try to control us. Plain and simple. They'll try to prevent things from happening. Somebody that's about to say something to you that's going to shift your life forever for the better. They'll say, oh, stay away from this person. They're bad. This person's bad. We're going to make them do something mean to you in dream time. So, Andromeda in the house. What up, family? So, yeah, thank you all for joining me. I think that's plenty of questions. What up, Owen? Yeah, this was fun today. I know these are obviously more professional when I do them ahead of time. But, sometimes it's not about the professional. It's about that spontaneity and getting you all in here, having some fun. So thank you for joining me. I'll be doing new readings, your new monthly readings on the 15th. So you can mark that down, hit the bell notification. You can be alerted when I go live. Always appreciate it when you hit the thumbs up button and like the video. I love you guys so much. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the time. There'll be a link added down below, or like an email address to send in your dreams, to have your dreams analyzed on the next episode or the one after that, depending on what subject comes up. Mwah. Thank you. Love and light from Sedona. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you soon.